What is up, guys? Welcome to the Prot Warrior for 7.0.3. And a lot of people have been questioning me recently. Hey, what's your main? Hey, what do you plan on maining for Legion? So I just figured I'm gonna go out there and say it now. Prot Warrior. A lot of people have been saying Prot Warrior has been redesigned and they hate it. Preacher, I watched a couple of his videos. Shout out to you. You kind of dislike Prot Warrior. Um, Back how they have it in vanilla, where you generate rage from taking damage. This is something that I loved with the Prot Warrior, and the fact that it's back is just insanely amazing. So what are we going to go over in this guide today? We're going to go over your stats, we're going to go over talents, rotation, and I have some weak auras to show you as well. So our stat priority is going to be haste, mastery, versatility, crit. You're going to want to gem haste and enchant haste as well. Basically, Prot Warriors feed on haste. The quicker your shield block, the quicker your last stand, and the quicker your shield wall are able to come off cooldown, the better off you're able to be. Because you need to have your defensive cooldowns waiting for when something happens. So a lot of encounters next expansion are going to be multi-target and single target, and within that comes our talents. These are going to take insanely amazing because all of them you can use to create so many different builds. But for our level 15 row, you're going to be using Shockwave or Warbringer. I have not found a place where Stormbolt is going to be viable except for maybe PvP. Shockwave, if you have a lot of enemies, so let's say you're in Everbloom Trash and there's a ton of enemies at the start where you just pulled them all together, you could Shockwave that and Thunderclap and have all the aggro on all of that. Warbringer is useful because you're going to be using Intercept all day, and if the mobs are all stacked pretty much on top of each other, Warbringer can take effect because you can charge to an enemy, you can charge to another player. Warbringer is basically using Intercept, and they've combined charge and Intercept for Prot Warriors into the same talent, or spell, if you will. For level 30, do not use Impending Victory. Even in PvP, this isn't very viable. If you go with Inspiring Presence, this is going to be a 3% leech for everybody within 60 yards except for you. And Safeguard is a passive that also involves Intercept, where it transfers damage, 20% of damage, from whatever target to you for the next 6 seconds. Level 45, all 3 talents here are very good, with Avatar, in my opinion, being the number 1. Avatar is a mobility and a DPS increase, so it helps you get out of anything that involves roots, snares, stuff like that. Ultimatum, you're going to be using. This is where a secondary build for Prot Warrior can come into play, and this is more of a PvP build, so that's going to go over in detail here, but I will go over that in another video. So with 45 talent tree, Ultimatum can be used with Vengeance and Heavy Repercussions for the Shield Slam, Ignore Pain, and Shield Block combo. That is where Shield Slam with Ultimatum has Focused Rage reducing cooldown if Shield Slam crits. Renewed Fury involves Ignore Pain. When you cast it, you get a damage increase. So if you're looking for not exactly a defensive here, go with Renewed Pain. Level 60, all 3 of these are viable depending on the situation you are in. Warlord's Challenge. So Taunt becomes off of cooldown when Berserking Rage is active. And this is useful for the same instance of if you're in Everbloom and Thunderclap and Shockwave are off cooldown, which can be very possible. You could hit Berserker Rage and just sit there and spam Taunt with no cooldown. I have Taunt bound to a macro that is a mouse over macro. So you mouse over the target, hit your bind, and it will automatically taunt that target for you. Bounding Stride. So Bounding Stride takes the mobility for a warrior. Bounding Stride incorporates the two glyphs that used to be in the game because major glyphs have been removed, and basically it reduces the cooldown and you get a 70% increased speed for 3 seconds. Crackling Thunder, in my opinion, is the best talent to take in this tree, in this row, because it increases Thunderclap, the radius of Thunderclap, by a good 100%, which is double of what it already is. So 16 yards, usually 8. And adds that visual, which is pretty cool. For level 75, all three of these are definitely viable. Best Served Cold involves revenge and gives you more rage with revenge. Never Surrender. So Never Surrender is a little different. They did nerf it a little bit. It used to be 100%. Now, Ignore Pain absorbs 75 more percent of health, or percent of damage, in the event of your missing health. So the more health you're missing, the higher the Ignore Pain is. And Indomitable, which is what I am currently taking, increases your health pool by 25% and increases Ignore Pain mitigation by an additional 25%. For our level 90 talent, all three of these are viable. Vengeance, if you're going to be using Ultimatum and Heavy Repercussions. Basically what Vengeance does is it flip-flops Ignore Pain with Focused Rage, and if you use Ignore Pain, it reduces Focus Rage. If you use Focus Rage, it reduces Ignore Pain. Into the Fray involves haste. So Into the Fray is you gain haste for up to 5 enemies around you. And it's 3% haste, so 5 times 3 is 15%. So you gain up to a 15% haste for 5 enemies within 10 yards. So if you are haste starved, go for this. If you aren't haste starved, I would choose Vengeance, but that's only if you feel like you're not running out of cooldowns. Like your cooldowns are always up on time. And level 90, Booming Voice is really hard to get like down properly because Demoralizing Shout is on a 90-second cooldown. So this is where this is a deal breaker for me because Demo Shout reduces the damage enemies do to you. So it's a defensive cooldown. But if you take this, it also generates 50 rage and increases the damage you do. But again, it's on a 90-second cooldown, so that's why I'm not using this. But if you feel like you are rage starved, which should almost be never, take Booming Voice. Level 100, all three of these are also viable. If you take Heavy Repercussions, remember that Vengeance and Ultimatum are also needed to be taken. Going with Anger Management, so Anger Management reduces Shield Wall, Last Stand, and Battle Cry, making them come up faster. Every 10 rage you spend reduces it by 1 second. And Ravager. Ravager is used if you need 30% parry on a 1-minute cooldown and does a little bit of damage. For our rotation, rotation is very different depending on a fight, if you are main tanking, if you're off tanking, but what I have found to be a pretty good rotation for Warrior is charge in, use your Devastates and Shield Slams to get up to a certain amount of rage. If you start taking damage, go with the Shield Block, and then I use Ignore Pain if I'm above 55 rage. So right here, you can use up to 60 rage to generate more Ignore Pain. And if you start going low health, use Last Stand. Gives you a ton more health. If enemies start hitting you more, go with Demo Shout right there, dealing 20% less damage to the shouting warrior. Avatar if you get into trouble, and so on and so forth. My weak auras. So if you saw the weak auras going up on the screen there, I keep the rage bar just underneath my warrior's feet. That's how I can tell how far away my character needs to be zoomed out. Because with tanking, you need the camera zoomed out as far as you think is needed to view the entire playing field. So I have Ignore Pain over here. It tracks the duration and the damage amount. The damage amount is going to be a little different. Damage amount actually tracks the 90% that Ignore Pain does. So it's not going to actually be the 245,000 that this says, or however much you spend. It's going to be 90% of that number. So to show that off, charge in, build up to 60 rage real quick. Hit this. This says 276. This says 307. That's 90%. We have Last Stand. So Last Stand is up here in the corner. Just tracks the duration of it. Rage bar and the rage amount. So if I threw this rage number, I've been trying to figure out how to throw that rage number itself inside the rage bar, but every time I did, the number itself disappears. So I threw the rage number underneath it. And that was that bar that's underneath right here. Shield block and shield wall. So that's going to be all this stuff right here. So shield block is the two swords with the duration underneath of them, and shield wall is going to be this number down here. I like having the shield block on both sides because to me that says, oh hey, our enemies on either side of me, well, you can turn this way to do this, you can turn that way to do that. And having both those numbers up helps me not exactly look at my action bars to understand that shield block is on cooldown or not. Same thing with shield wall. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any further questions, please let me know in the comment section below. If you liked it, leave a like and a comment. If you disliked it, let me know why you disliked it. Have fun playing your Prot Warrior in Legion.